Well, there's another shot coming out, so if you want to get another one.
How do you do that? First one clearly didn't. The first three clearly didn't work, so.
Really?
I'm going for
I
this
still
one.
got it.
Filling up in center and like.
Yeah, but it's
All
not
right.
completely foolproof.
Okay, I'd like to bring to order a meeting of the Summers Board of Selectmen. And today is the first, this is a regular meeting. Today is September 1st, 2022. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, I have Selectman Bill Meyer on my left, Selectman Bob Schmidt on my right. We have Director of Land Use, Dan Parisi, Director of Public Works, Todd Rowland. We have Director of Social and Youth Services, Allison Maynard. We have Director of Operations, Kim LaFleur. Our CFO, Mike Marinaccio, and our Assistant Finance Director, Brian Wissinger. And we have a guest this evening, Joe Radowitz. Beautiful. Okay. So do we have any public comment? I don't believe so. Not tonight. Okay, great. Presentations by First Selectman. I just wanted to report to everyone that yesterday I had the pleasure of joining our town clerk, Dave Marty, in swearing in Gerard Joyle as the our second school resource officer. Gerard was here with his wife Becky and Becky's parents and three of Gerard's kids, and it was a very nice event. And by the way, 2/3 of the Summers Police Force were also here. So it was a really nice event, and his first day of service started this morning. That's all I have. Consent agenda. I don't believe we have anything with regards to boards and commissions. No changes there. Opportunity to add urgent items. We have two additional items that I wanted to add that were not on the initial schedule. One is discussion and action authorizing the First Selectman to sign the Stafford Intermunicipal Agreement extension and resolution with regards to the building official. And the second urgent action item to be added would be a motion to add to the agenda, a motion by Allison Maynard to speak on the following items: announcing the Drug-Free Communities Grant that I mentioned briefly at our last meeting last week, but she's here to speak in greater detail, and to request Board of Selectmen action on a couple of items that relate to personnel matters. So I need a couple of motions just to add these two additional items. One dealing with the Stafford Intermunicipal Agreement extension and the appointment of a building official, and two being the motion to allow Allison Maynard to speak to the Drug-Free Community Grant that Summers is receiving, and also request action by the Board of Selectmen with regards to a couple of personnel matters.
Can I just say so moved?
Great.
So moved.
I'll second for discussion.
Any further discussion?
I guess my question is just why were they not on the posted agenda? I mean, the posted agenda was sent out yesterday at 4 o'clock, and I don't know what changed.
I missed it.
Okay.
Yeah. She told us that yesterday at 6 o'clock.
Well, for one item, but I don't think for all the other ones. I mean, that was just for the building official, which I knew, but I mean.
Well, Allison had something that came up, right, Allison?
Well, I think their stuff was submitted, though. I mean, I looked at her emails and things. I mean, there's one things that came in this morning. There were things that were sent earlier, so. I mean, I guess just.
Like I said, I missed it.
Okay, but I guess I'd just make 2 points. I mean, number one, I'd like to see the agendas earlier, more than 24 hours. I think we had talked about that when we first convened. And number two, I just think we need to, I mean, we've had many, many, many items that have not gotten on the agendas. And it's just, we need to give the public notice, chance to come in. Nothing here seems controversial to me, but I think it's just a good practice. So, thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, we'll start off with.
We got to vote.
Okay, yeah, vote. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So the first item now added to the agenda is the action authorizing the first selectman to sign the Stafford intermunicipal agreement extension, and as well as the resolution appointing Glenn Setzler, S-E-T-Z-L-E-R, as the town building official, acting town building official. So is there anything else you want to add to that, Dan? Dan's here.
I looked over the agreement, and it's the way it's been working has been working out pretty good. So there's nothing really much for me to add to it.
What's the length of time on the extension?
6 months.
6 months.
Okay, I know we reviewed this with the town
Yeah, it
attorney.
says 180 days.
Yeah, the
And
town
these are the
attorney has
recommendations.
basically reported back to us on this. I think both of you selectmen were given copies of the response
Yep.
and the
Yes,
two
we were.
documents.
No, I'm good with it. So I make a motion to authorize the first selectman to sign the Stafford intermunicipal agreement extension and resolution for the building official as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is will be presented by Allison Maynard, who's Director of Social Needs Services.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
So, as most of you are aware, I'm the current chair of Summers Comes Together, which is our local prevention council, which has been around actually for a couple of decades. And you all afforded me the opportunity to go to the CADCA conference back in February, where I was truly inspired by what other coalitions were doing across
Which was
the
a
country.
national conference.
A national conference, yep, coalitions from all across the country. And what became evident to me was that in order to be able to do any of the type of initiatives that they were doing in their communities, we needed to go after the Drug Free Communities grant. So you then okayed me to bring on a grant writer who was awesome and worked with me to write the grant. And so we found out last week that we have been awarded the DFC funds. So that's $125,000 for 5 years. It's highly-
$125,000 a year for
a year for 5 years, a
That's
total of
amazing.
$600,000.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It's super exciting. Briefly, just the DFC. So just to give a little bit of background, so it's been around since '97. It was part of the Drug Free Communities Act, administered by the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy, and managed through a partnership between ONDCP and the CDC. So Tim and Brian and I had actually met with the CDC a couple weeks ago. So it's aimed at mobilizing community leaders to identify and respond to the drug problems unique to their community and change local community environmental conditions tied to substance use. So it's directly from the feds to the local level. So we will, so it was a highly competitive grant. There's only 2 other coalitions in the state besides us that received new funding.
Who are they?
That's a good question. I brought it. Actually, Longmeadow, Mass. was one of them. So even though they're not Connecticut, they're right over the border there. Naugatuck and Torrington.
Very good.
Yeah,
Okay.
and us. Yep.
And how many were there nationally?
99 new coalitions funded. So in totality, there's about 700 currently funded at different points in their 10-year cycle. At year 5, we will reapply for 5 more years. The idea with this money is that we become self-sustaining. The match increases over time, and then we can never access these funds again. So like, for example, Enfield just finished their 10-year cycle of this DFC funding. And it will also allow us the ability to hire a full-time prevention coordinator to really implement the work. So it's a really exciting opportunity. Our focus is going to be on alcohol and marijuana use. It is strictly focused on
How
youth.
about fentanyl?
So we didn't choose that as a, but certainly it's all encompassing, right?
Well, I guess I'm just, not because it was a big issue, and
Mhm.
Attorney General Tong has been after this now for a long time, and I really see it as a serious problem, and just, it's crazy what people are now mixing, you know,
Mhm.
into these, I can't believe the stuff they're mixing. They even said animal tranquilizers, they say they're now mixing into this stuff. So I'm not trying to be difficult, but I would hope that we would expand, you know, if we start seeing stuff coming into the town,
And we'll have the opportunity
When
to
you,
do
when
that.
you say adding fentanyl, I mean, I don't think people intentionally take fentanyl,
Yes, they
do
do.
they?
Yes, they do.
I think some people do.
People take it directly. That's why the Chinese have a thing that comes into Mexico and comes into this country, and they've been doing it for years. And that's a
I'm
big
familiar
problem.
with that.
The nice thing with this grant, though, and I did a lot of prevention work in another community, very, very heavily involved, is we're going to do data collection. And if the data collection points us in a certain direction, we can then,
Right.
the town will be able to modify
Well,
it.
that's what I'm kind of
So
talking
through
about.
school surveys and other, through police department data and arrests
Yes,
and things like
exactly.
that, they
Yep.
can.
And we actually have been doing those surveys up until 2017. I mean, really, Summers comes together, and I truly think that this is a big part of the reason we got funded is we have an awesome foundation now to build from. So from 2001.
Well, I thought it was because of the awesome people on the call when we spoke with the CDC.
That too. It was you and Brian who won over the CDC. But really,
I agree.
I mean, they really
it shows that Summers has some foresight.
definitely.
And
Yep.
an organization that can deal with this directly.
Yeah. Yep. So the funds officially kick in October 1, and
I think
Congress
one of the
may work
exciting
together.
things will be if you can figure out ways to measure the Summers' performance as a result of receiving the grant.
so to Bill's point, we are required as part of the grant to survey all students in the schools, ideally biannually. So, and then it will measure all of that, which is what we had been doing in the school system
But you
for
said
almost
you've had
20
statistics
years.
dating back to
2017 is our
2017.
most current survey. Since
Right.
then, there has not been a survey in the school system about substance use amongst our youth. Yeah.
which in itself I would think would be a concern.
Well, and it's a great opportunity to
Yeah.
build a broad community coalition, not just for drugs, but for mental health and healthcare systems and businesses, faith-based organizations, media, like bringing them all together. I mean, it's just, kudos. Like, this is a big deal. I mean, it's transformational for a town like Summers to bring that much money in and be able to do this much. And it's so competitive. I mean, for us to write a grant and get awarded this
It's a
is,
pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
I hope
Step
the other
forward.
towns will be able to assist them too. Because if we see kids coming in from other surrounding towns, I would hope that we would be willing to work with them too to help them out and alert them to those things, because we don't live in a vacuum. And obviously, if these other towns, if our kids are going very easily to other towns and bringing it from those other towns, we need to be aware of that too.
Also, kudos to you, Allison, for putting this together to begin with, for recognizing the potential for a grant, for hiring the grant writer and making sure that all the T's were crossed and I's dotted and the application was submitted on time. And then we were particularly competitive with regard to receipt of the grant, so I think a lot of that goes to your leadership.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very much.
That's
Yeah, great
phenomenal.
job.
Great.
I mean, it's great that you're able to go to a conference, bring back some information, and then bring us in $600,000, which actually may be well over $1 million in grant funding.
Right.
If we get the
Exactly.
continuation funding,
Yeah.
because most communities do, so.
And one last quick point, I just want to say what I think is very, very cool about this grant. It's where we need to grow as Summers comes together, because we have all 12 sectors represented. We have the faith-based, we have, the media, but the biggest piece we're missing is our youth. And so this is really supposed to be youth-led, adult-advised, and so that conference that I went to actually has an entire youth component where we can bring kids from Summers down to the conference. And it's all about empowering them to be leaders in their communities. So it's
Exciting.
really, really exciting.
Amazing, yeah.
So,
Fantastic.
Well, nice work.
Nice work.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Quick question, Brian. What kind of reporting requirements do we have with this?
There's a lot of reporting. I'm actually at the September Board of
Good question.
Finance meeting. I'm going to propose creating a separate fund strictly for this, for tracking purposes, based on the budget. I mean, there's supplies and salary and every kind of thing, and we need a full chart of accounts to really encompass what's coming in, what's going out, and when it was spent.
This is federal money too.
Yeah, it's federal
So
money.
we're in the federal being audited category now.
We're already
every
in
year.
the federal
Yeah.
audit category because of ARPA, and this is just going to be added on to
Okay,
it.
well,
So
that's fine. We're up to that.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
no, it's
the-
a great point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm going to request a separate fund strictly for this grant and its tracking purposes, because it's 5 to 10 years of of data that's going to need to be tracked. It doesn't need to just get lost in some
Sure.
other fund.
Sure.
Well, we need to think too, I mean, as far as the sustainability and long-term, I mean,
Yeah.
we may have other funding sources, you know,
Right.
especially towards the end, you know, we get private donations or other
Right.
grants, you know, Hartford Foundation or others, you know,
Yep.
we need to just think, so it's a great point, I mean, I think.
Mhm.
So will you be working with the school social workers then? Is that how that's that?
I already work very closely with them. I mean, certainly the school is going to be instrumental in all of this, but I think it will be more at the district level.
Not the district.
Yeah,
level,
I
okay.
mean, certainly the superintendent will be a key partner with
Okay.
this. But the social workers and I already work, you know,
Okay.
hand in hand.
Yeah,
but-
I knew that. I just was wondering if they were going to just continue to be part of that. You know.
There's a lot, but yeah, the health classes. I mean, it can really
Oh, yeah.
bolster a lot that's happening within the school system as well. Yeah,
would
assemblies can be funded through this money.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yep.
Did you want to bring up something in addition to this with regards to Donna Richards?
Yeah, so Donna Richardson, so shifting gears completely. So Donna Richardson, as you know, is our current senior center supervisor. She replaced Jillian Connors. State statute requires that we have a municipal agent for the elderly. I am the municipal agent for the elderly, but we've always had an assistant municipal agent for the elderly. And so my recommendation was that you appoint Donna Richardson as that assistant municipal agent.
Is there a term?
I think it's 2 years. I think actually it's at your discretion. I included the state statute in my email. I think it's 2 or 4 years. And also, I just want to make sure that that gets updated with whatever systems, because I don't think I'm current on any of the state websites where if somebody searched for a municipal agent, it's people I've never heard of. So it must be from a while ago. I think it's the town clerk.
That's a
that
good
does it.
question.
Yeah?
Do we
Okay.
have, did you have information you sent to us with regards to the term?
It was just within my email.
Okay.
I probably missed it. Maybe you could resend it to
Hold on.
us.
I can pull it up quick if you want.
Go ahead, yeah, you may find it faster than me.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, you're warm now, huh?
'Cause I don't know if I got that
Feeling
email. I know I got one email, but I don't know if I have that.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
So you get for wearing a T-shirt over there.
It is warm.
Well, you know, we can open the window.
No, no, no.
Yeah, let's
It's
go for it.
beautiful outside.
No, that's what I would do. Open a window. I wouldn't want to turn on air conditioning.
I'm not sure these windows open up.
They don't. That's pretty sad.
They don't close after you open them.
They open, they just don't close.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was, Todd fixed a lot of that.
Chief elected official or chief executive officer by ordinance of each municipality shall appoint a municipal agent for elderly persons. A term of 2 or 4 years at the discretion of the appointing authority of each municipality may be appointed.
Do you want to make it 2 years?
Yeah, I think 2 years.
So we need a motion for that.
I make a motion to appoint Donna Richardson as the Assistant Municipal Agent for the Elderly for a term beginning September 1st, 2022 and expiring on September 1st, 2024.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Should we make it August 31st, 2024? I don't know if it matters.
September 1 sounds better.
I think so. All right, keep it as.
Great.
Yeah, Allison, on this name, your title change.
Yes.
Wait,
We gotta vote
Any
on this
further
first.
discussion
Yeah.
Just curious.
on the motion?
Yeah, no.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 And Kim, we'll
Passes.
we'll
Thank you.
update then our list of appointed officials to include this.
I
and
think
then
that might have to be 12/22. So.
I don't know because it's it's not in the charter though.
Okay.
So we can look at it. If we have to amend it, we can. But we also have to find out when we made Allison's term expire in case she needs to be reappointed.
Yeah. I think
Good.
they
I
did
think
you
it
for 4 years.
before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll put it on our list though, so we have.
But I'm
like
getting there.
Reminder.
Great.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Time
it's
flies when you're having
December. I
fun.
know.
Do we have to do anything with this title change? That she's asking?
She's coming up next on that. That's the next item.
Oh, that's next on that.
There you go.
Boy.
Go ahead, Allison.
A little
Your
busy
number,
bee
item
over
number
Okay.
2.
What's this?
Well, I sent Tim an email about my actual title and department.
You can just give
Well,
us a rundown of the history of what.
Yeah,
what
so we
went on
used to
in
be
the
called the
past.
Human Services Department. Then when Chris Boucher did the reorg, he changed it to Social Services. Obviously, we've already grown significantly getting YSP funding, so now we have a Youth Services Department. We're in the process of hiring a mental health clinician. So we're going to have really a a side segment of mental health services that we're providing, and then with the prevention coordinator also that we're going to be hiring on staff. I just don't feel like social services really encompasses all the work that we're doing. And this is going to sound like maybe ridiculous, but even like when people call the department, we always say, hello, social services. And the more we do that, I'm realizing like that doesn't describe our department, because they're calling sometimes for mental health services, or they're calling for youth services. And so I think we need a more broad title for the department, which is where we originally were 3 years ago.
Yep.
That makes sense. Makes sense to
So
go
I just
back.
want to go back to
Human
it.
Services Director.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no overlap with rec and leisure because that's now separate. So I
Right.
think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to want new business cards, right?
I do, and a new sign on the door, please.
So we should add an appropriation then for business cards. Yeah.
You're killing me.
We'll get her a stamp. She can stamp the cards.
Serious.
Yeah,
Just get a magic marker.
I'm high maintenance, guys.
Get a magic
You're
marker.
figuring it out.
Cut a piece of paper
Sounds like I
out.
already
Just
know.
write it
Typical
down.
accountant, right?
I would make a motion that the Board of Selectmen change the title of the Director of Social and Youth Services to the new title of Director of Human Services, effective immediately.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in support of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank
All
you.
right,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Next on the agenda is finance, transfers, and appropriations. Do we have any of those?
No, with the fire chief not here, we didn't bring those.
CFO finance report.
Yeah, I really have nothing major to report. I'm just doing a lot of planning and laying out some groundwork for mapping some future steps for that we're going to have to undertake for like bonding projects and other internal projects. So I've been meeting with Brian and Lisa on them. So nothing really major to report. But the one follow-up item I want to touch base on was that when I presented the approved financial policies, I wanted you to
last week.
approve a motion or to a motion adopting them. So I didn't add that as an agenda item, but I think maybe we can do it under my report here that those financial policies should be adopted.
I guess we should have done that last week, but we didn't. Is that what we're saying?
Because it was a
Can
special
we do it
meeting.
at the next meeting, or?
Let's do it. I'd like to read it. I didn't get to read all of them. Maybe next. I mean, I think they're
9:15.
great, but maybe we'll do it 9:15.
Yeah, is that okay?
And we'll notice them on the agenda. It's a
Yeah,
separate
make sure
item.
it's on the agenda.
And Mike, this was the follow-up. I gave Kim a copy. That's the statute. We just have to just take a look at that with the bond.
Statute for what?
For the bonding, what we discussed last time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the state statute. And again, there is another state statute that talks about bonding and the availability for insurance.
Yeah.
But we just need to make sure that, because if they conflict, which one governs.
Yep.
And sometimes the other one will govern, sometimes this one governs. That one's very specific to a board of selectmen, though, as opposed to like a council manager form of government.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that one governs. It may. It'd be a Carl question, but
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Carl should look at that.
we just have to. I'll show you the statute, Tim. There's a specific statute, and we actually have personal liability
Yeah, because we have control over funds.
of the funds.
I understand.
So,
So-called control.
Mike, the other thing I know we've
What
talked
other
about
people-
it.
Yeah.
It probably makes sense, maybe not
Rather
next
brief
meeting, but
control.
maybe in October. I'm a little concerned going into next year's budget with a lot of the escalating costs, around heat, fuel, labor, all these salary adjustments we've made, and all these other things, and just kind of where we're sitting. I don't want to wait until December, January to see that we have a problem.
Sure.
We probably should start to see what the budget impacts are going to be. I talked to Director Rowland the other day, and we budget diesel at $2 a gallon. We're probably going to be paying $4 a gallon.
Well, fuel's actually been going down on the spot market, so let's hope it
But it's
goes
double
down.
what we budgeted.
Gas
Oh,
is-
diesel's not going
Diesel's
down.
It's over
like,
$5.
$4.40?
It's over $5 next door.
It's still not going down?
Actually, it was at $3.90.
$3.90. But what's our budget
We're buying
for?
it
Two-
$2.60.
260. So,
So, I
$1.30
mean-
more.
which is 50%.
So just flag items that we need to.
Yeah. Well, I'm just
That's a good
hoping.
idea, though. We'll
I'm hoping the oil companies would stop, wanting 44% profit.
But we should just see kind of what,
I
we
know
were
it's a good
able
time to look at it. It's the end of the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
quarter.
Periodic.
Just
We would say
coming up.
quarterly
so,
reports.
yeah.
How does that sound?
we
Yep.
did great with the price of asphalt and things, and we're not doing as good anymore. We
Yeah.
were able to take that road bomb far. I know we cut some of the road money. Just all that kind of construction costs are up through the roof. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of things with the finance report, though.
Okay.
The first one is all of them kind of relate to IT governance, but they run through our office. This week we received 5 new laptops and monitors. They're going to start getting set up, so we're going to start seeing some computer replacement in the coming weeks. The desktops have not arrived yet, but I expect them within the next week or so.
How many of those?
Desktops, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 5 laptops, so there'll be a total of 14 computers being replaced. Those were what our IT group kind of noticed as the worst ones in town, and desperately needed to get updated. And then if we see any more during the year, we have a little bit of extra funding that if we need any replacements or any new additions, like with the potential for a project, I forget what the title was, prevention coordinator. We would need a computer for that. I believe that was part of the grant, but things along that way. The transition for Office 365 is scheduled to go live on September 16th. That's a Friday. They plan on flipping the switch that day. They will be on site. Suzer is they.
What day was that?
September 16th. So 2 weeks and a day from now.
Okay.
Suzer IT will be on site the following Monday, the 19th, for any assistance and troubleshooting that may be needed at a local level. They don't anticipate any. This isn't their first one they've done. So they expect everything to go smoothly, but with all things technology, anything can go wrong. And then I met with our first potential audio-visual company today. I have another meeting next week with another vendor on the final updates for the auditorium downstairs. So I'm anticipating a quote from the first vendor next week, and then hopefully by the end of next week from the second vendor. And we can start kind of designing and mapping out exactly the final product and staying within the budget that was allotted for that upgrade as well.
So what does that mean? You can't use it for...
No, we can use it as is. I wouldn't use it right now with the fresh drywall that's down there. I would let it get sanded and painted first. Everything that's going to be done.
So in the next 2 weeks we'll be able to have a meeting there?
Yeah, everything that's going to be done as far as this goes will all be stuff that won't affect. It'll be taking down a screen and putting a new screen up, or taking down a projector and putting something of that nature, so it won't affect anything meeting wise.
Won't be a lot of dust in the air.
Yeah, there won't be drywall dust in the air.
That's a good thing.
No, it's a lot of many needed. I've heard great feedback. Like I've said many times. I mean, great job with this, and it's a great step forward for network security, for our citizens, for our town employees. I mean, it
provides us extra space for meetings
and better accessibility to the meetings too. People will actually be able to see and hear what's happening in the meetings instead of trying to read
when do you
lips.
think the audio visual system will be up and going?
I'm hoping by the end of October. Everything depends on shipping delays and availability of product. My goal is to have it ready by the end of October.
Yeah, it's coming from China. It could be a while.
It could be.
Great.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
A presentation of scheduled payments. Need a motion for
what was
payment
the,
authorization.
Gingrich Ford, 59,000.
New vehicle.
New
what?
new park truck.
New, is that the park truck? Or
Yeah, I think it was the parks pickup.
So this is the authorization for payments.
The CIP.
So
Yeah.
$199,427.16.
And then tax exempt leasing corp.
Yeah.
That's one of our
Yeah,
annual
if you
leases.
make a motion for that.
Did we pay
Thank
some
you.
of these off, or?
Some of them are slowly trickling off. This one is the fiscal 20. This was the ambulance and the mower. So sorry, fiscal 19 lease
We need
package.
a second on the motion for
Okay, I'll second it, then
Authorizing
I'll continue the
payments.
discussion. So,
Yep.
okay, so it's just for the ambulance?
Yeah, this payment was for the lease package that included the ambulance and the roadside mower.
I mean, Mike, I know you gave it a while ago, but I mean, just maybe a brief updated list, 'cause I know some of this got paid off with ARPA, and some of this is still
Yeah, so
gonna
the Gingras one got paid.
Yeah.
That was paid by ARPA funds. These are just old,
So there
old
was-
lease packages.
There's no lease package this year.
Yeah, there
So
was
there'll
no
be a-
new
there'll be
lease
a break.
package.
We've been rotating on a 5-year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a great plan. I mean, the
Yeah,
town has a
so-
good replacement schedule.
so we're taking a breathing year without the leases. Whether or not, it'll be CIP's decision whether or not we finance through leasing or a combination of leasing and ARPA this year.
Yeah,
It'd
but
be a
that was
good- would be a
another-
good thing to mention in that quarterly report that we don't
Yeah.
anticipate.
Yeah.
Well, next year we know they're looking for a new ambulance. Based on the cost of this one and the rising cost, I would say that that's going to be a hard one to just buy outright.
But I mean, the thing is, it's one of those things that sounds like good news, but it's actually bad news, because this year, typically the taxpayers would fund the lease payments. Well, it wasn't included in the budget because we used ARPA money. But next year, if we want to put the lease payments back in the budget, that's a $350,000 budget increase.
Well, yes and no. I think we took the opportunity to take a wider swath into our schedule of things that we needed. We had deferred a lot of things over the last couple of years. So we, with our money, bought a lot of equipment. So I'm not so sure that the need will be that great this year. I'm not trying to speak for you, but that's what I anticipate.
But we still need an appropriation next year for something. I mean, we
Oh,
have
absolutely.
multiple year
Yeah.
leases
Yeah,
and
I
things,
see
so-
what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's just something we got to keep an eye on.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
sounds good, but
No,
it's,
we do keep an eye on it. The auditors keep an eye on it too. So.
yeah. Well, we also were one of the few towns that did a supplemental tax increase a few years ago. I mean,
Any further discussion on the motion to authorize the payments?
No.
I'm good.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Brian.
Okay, next on the agenda is updates from boards and commissions. I don't think we have any of those. Pending business. Pending business was actually postponed until next meeting because Chief Roach is not here. New business, discussion and possible action on well irrigation system for town baseball fields. Director Rowland.
Good evening. Yes, we received a request from the Summers Little League Association for permission to install a well and irrigation fields out here for the two ball fields as well as the instructional. They are proposing to pay for all of it, all of the installation as well as maintenance of the system. The only cost the town will bear is the electricity to run the well, which I expect to be minor in nature. And honestly, we're in favor of this project. It will help, particularly with the infields, bless you, that took a beating this year with the drought. And I really see no downside into it. Summers Little League is paying the whole way.
So it's all the fields?
Everything out here.
Oh, just
These
just
out
these.
here.
Town
These
hall.
are the only ones that aren't irrigated. Actually.
Oh, okay, that's why I was just trying to figure it out.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Joe Razowitz is the president of Little League. If you have any questions for him,
It's going to be an irrigation system also, or
Yeah.
yeah,
sprinklers.
yeah.
Yep.
I think this was on the agenda 2 years ago.
It was at that
Selectmen.
time. The Little League was asking the town to pay for the well, and they were going to pay for the irrigation. CIP was under strain, and we didn't fund it at that time.
I recall that.
And they've come back with they're able to pay for the entire thing. So
Yeah,
really,
just-
Where'd you find the money? I guess that's what I want to know. This is great.
Fundraisers, golf tournaments,
Fantastic.
calendar raffle, we have good corporate sponsors.
Great job.
Selling a lot of hot
I
dogs.
guess the only concern that we would have, I know there was some discussion, is if we are gonna invest that money, we just wanna be assured, at least, you can't say it forever, but we will be there.
It's a pretty good indicator that, there's
Yeah, we're
a
not
further
gonna- we're not
investment
doing
in
this,
the
we're
field.
gonna do it, we're not gonna build a building down there.
right.
Since it is a major improvement to a town site for accounting purposes, I think it'd be easiest if the town paid the vendor and Little League paid the town. Because the auditors are going to want to increase the value on our capital assets listing.
Can we take it as an in-kind gift? Book it that way?
Yeah.
I mean, we probably should have a written agreement with the Little League, though, just as far as,
Yeah.
you know, just to be clear, we could do it in 2 pages, but.
Yeah, and put in about we'll pay for the electricity and stuff like that.
So if we draft up an agreement, we can send it to you for your board to approve. I mean, this is awesome.
Yeah.
The Little League's been so strong. I mean, went to states, and I mean, it's been done wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, it's some good vibrancy in the center of town, right? So
Very, very popular. And,
Excellent.
Well received and appreciated by Summer youth and their parents.
Okay.
So you guys going to maintain it, or are you going to?
no, we will.
You'll do it.
We'll
Okay,
fund
I just was wondering.
Annual blow it out, and I mean, we'll assist, obviously.
You are-
'cause we do
you're gonna-
everything
you are
else,
gonna
but-
assist.
but,
Yeah,
Of
okay.
course, if you need anything,
we always
they
go
always
through
work
them,
together.
but
Yeah.
we'll
Okay.
pay for it.
Yeah.
All right, good. I
We'll
just didn't
draft a
know.
short contract to just.
I just
Yeah,
was-
because we'd like to start in Octobe. They should get in this year for.
Can do it
Before the ground freezes.
So we'll need a motion to approve the improvements.
Okay, so you'll draw up a brief contract then with the town attorney on this. So we'll authorize you to sign it, but you'll send it to us just so we have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so make a motion that the Board of Selectmen accept the donation from the Summers Little League of the well and irrigation system for the town hall baseball fields, and authorize the first selectman to sign an agreement with the Little League to that effect.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Nice
Thank
job.
you. Thanks for coming.
Nice work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, any other new business?
I have one.
Approval of minutes.
Good night, Brandon.
Approval of the minutes of July 28th, 2022 special meeting. Do we have a motion for this?
Yeah, there's just, let's see what I have here. Just trying to see what I have, Tim. I'm just little disorganized, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, I'll be happy to make a motion to approve the minutes of July 28th, 2022, the special meeting for the Board of Selectmen.
Second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. We need a motion for approval of minutes of August 25th. Special 6 p.m. meeting by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I'll be happy to make a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Selectmen's special meeting on August 25th, 2022.
Second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. We're ready to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Second that.
All those in favor say aye.
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 We're adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Very good.